The number one thing that kills almost every business out there is the last thing you need to do is to create this debt, create these payments that you really didn't realize you were signing up for, and then try to go find your clients. The more you refine your craft, the more you can charge. Your skill equals the income that you can provide, right? Sometimes knowledge and actually getting the hands-on experience is value. What tools, products should I actually buy first? Just understand that we don't need to spend for the best quality chemical out there because that's what's good. Even the best vacuum, any shop vacuum is going to be perfect enough. You're simply offering a gesture to other people in return to offer you a Google review. We want to create a great financial base, and offering different options just creates the opportunity to upsell clients. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode where we talk everything about business tips, tricks, how to grow, how to scale, specifically for the automotive detailing industry. I'm your host, I'm the detail consultant. My name is JJ Vola. So without further ado, let's get into our second episode. And you know what? I still haven't figured out a name or what I'm calling this series, but the fact that you guys are showing up to my second episode and we don't even have a name for this thing just goes to show it's working. But today I want to talk about why detailing. Why am I so obsessed with this industry? Well, from episode 1, we talked a lot about why I love the car industry. Just something special really warms my heart when I start talking cars and stories and etc. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm an enthusiast for any car out there in the world, even my own sports car, RX-7. Like, I love Mazda, I love rotary engines, I love everything about it. But if you asked me if I was a raw enthusiast and I knew every damn nut and bolt and whatever on that car, I would say no. Just because I wanted to be honest with you. I'm not going to bullshit my way and tell you lies that I don't know. And I have no sense in being caught in a lie and then all of a sudden you're just that guy. But what I do know is business, and I do what I've loved and I've really taken away from my last I don't even know how long I've worked, maybe since I was 15 years old. So the last 14 years of my life, I've just had a lot of opportunity to grow and understand. I've had really cool chances and opportunities to work with big brands, like GM, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. Then I worked for all the Bombardier products, which was Sea-Doo, Skidoo, Can-Am, Manitou, Alumacraft, and working for Pro Oil Change, Valvoline, all this stuff. I just got to learn how these big corporate businesses operate. And when we really just dumb it down, more on a simplistic level, all of these similar tactics and tools that these big business operate in that you could use for your business as well. But we're going to talk about that in the next series of episodes. But I want to just really talk about if maybe there's some people who really just need help understanding or is in the beginning stages of wanting to grow their detailing business, or even just wanting to start off. Maybe it's in your mind and you're like, you know what, this is something I would love to do. This is something I feel like I'm going to have passion for and feel like I'm not going to give up after a year. Detailing cars and being a business owner is not for the faint of heart, okay? It takes a lot of physical strength and mental. You are always on. There is no on and off. And if you think that's the case, then imagine, one of your first clients or whatever calling you at 10 o'clock p.m. because they think it's okay to reach out to you and blah, blah, blah. You're going to want to either let that customer know that they were taken care of, but two, you just want to give good customer service because you want to try to win them over. Now, it's up to you. I'm not saying you need to work past 5, 6 o'clock, but when you are a business owner, you consider these things. You consider your customers' needs. You want to put their best interests at the front of your mind so that way you can accommodate whatever it is that you're looking for, just so that way you can have the opportunity to take care of them. Because that one transaction of them using your service might turn into a long term customer. And how many long term customers do you need in order to have a very sustainable business? Like just a good standard of making sure all your bills are met, you have a good income coming in, and it's a steady flow. But when we want to think about the potential in the future of growing, scaling, and stepping back and watching your team grow the business, like that's where really diving in and being an entrepreneur, thinking like a CEO and delegating is really what's going to help you shine from your competitors, right? Because if you can, even if you're starting today, you can outgrow your competition very fast simply by just being different than what they're doing. So I just want to talk about the benefits, the keys, like why, like maybe you are just struggling with the idea of even starting. So let me just help you understand. My father once told me when we went out for breakfast one day, and at the end of it, my dad's a very big entrepreneur person, and he's had businesses that were multi-million dollar figure income. And the one biggest advice that he told me, he said, Jay, the number one thing that kills almost every business out there is the cost of overhead. And if you don't know what overhead is just if you were to basically add up all of your expenses throughout the month and see everything. I'm talking every single penny that you have to spend for. So that would be like your rent, your chemicals, the water, maybe insurance, your staff, everything that comes together. You need to take that into consideration. Whatever that number is, that is your cost of own like overhead. So that is basically what we need to do in sales in order just to make sure you are afloat. And I'll be honest and say there are some businesses, and quite honestly, a lot of businesses that don't even meet their minimum overhead amount. Because a lot of businesses they have fluctuation. There are busy times, there are their slow times, and then there's the times that just you know go very smooth. It's like a plateau, and it's just very straight lined. Okay. But if we can also take in consideration that with the amount of cars out there in the world, the amount of people who need their car cleaned every single day, there are opportunities out there. It's just, are you in front of the right people? Are you bringing your attention to the right people? So, with that said, overhead is a big factor to consider. He said, Jay, if you learn how to stay small and keep it all, you'll have a very successful business. And that's where you are. You need to learn how to do things at a very minimal cost, especially if you've never operated a business before. Because the last thing you need to do is to create this debt, create these payments that you really didn't realize you were signing up for, and then try to go find your clients. Now, everyone's going to tell you go find your clients first and then you can service them later. Well, sure, maybe. But when a customer is impulsive and they need their cars cleaned, they need it done today or at least this week. And if you are not ready to clean that car, then of course they're going to move on to somebody else. But if you're in a neighborhood, whether it's a small town, a big city, you can start knocking on doors. And if you don't have great customer experience or good sales, I challenge you just to go and knock on a few doors. Simply introduce yourself, what you offer. The more you do it, the more confident you're going to be, and the easier it's going to grow your confidence to talking to random people. It's kind of like asking a girl out for a date. The first time, you're probably extremely nervous and you need to go sit on the toilet after. But by the sixth time, you're probably pretty good at being rejected, and you realize, you know what, it's their loss. Like, there's just repetition is key if you want to get better at something, right? So, when we talk about the detailing world, you can start off at a very simplistic setup. Doesn't have to be anything special. You don't have to offer paint correction services. You don't have to offer steam cleaning or shampoo or anything. You could offer simply a vacuum and a wash. So basically like a basic interior exterior detail. Sure, you're not going to charge $200 to $300, but we could start somewhere. Like, could you detail a car very nice in and out as best as you could for $100? And that's not something that you do on a weekend. And you just get better. Like, you get faster, you get more educated, and then you start raising your prices. Like, I don't know where you are in your beginning stages, but also too, if you've made some investments, like you have a power washer, a vacuum, and you don't have a way of transporting it, then yeah, maybe you do have to work out of your driveway or whatever situation that you're in. But this is something I've thought about recently, and with the opportunities we have now, as long as you are a trustworthy person, and I mean that in the nicest way possible, you need to consider how you present yourself to a customer. How are they perceiving you? Are you sketchy? Are you untrustworthy? Are you well put together? Are you smiling? Are you disrespectful? Like, how are you using your words to actually consider how customers are going to, like, basically judge you? And, it's, yeah, first impressions always matter when it comes to customers. Like, it's a lasting impression. That's the problem. It's not only the first impression, but it's what's going to make a lasting impression. So, one idea I've always thought of, and I think this would be such a great idea for starting in the detailing industry, is if you had, let's say you have your driver's license, and you got a nice hat, you got a nice shirt, and that is basically all you had. Well, what if you went to clients' houses and say, listen, I pick up cars, I go and clean them, and I bring them back? Yes, that alone screams red flags to customers. Now, you would definitely need to offer some sort of collateral. Like, you're going to leave something, maybe it's your car with your keys, and say, listen, this is the keys to my car, blah, blah. You're going to take their vehicle and go and clean it. Now, you could just take it to the local coin op car wash, clean it yourself, or take it to one of those automated car washes where it's going to do like 75-80% of the work, and then you're just doing the final details, and then you bring it back. Now, a lot of these you're going to have to maybe do for free at the beginning. And when I say free, I just mean you're going to have to do it for like your family's or your friends' vehicles, just to get the actual, like, the business started, so you can create social proof, so that way when you go and market yourself, you can actually display this is what you offer. You pick up the client's vehicle, you go and clean them off site, and you bring it right back. At Hayes Detail Shop, this is what we offer. We pick up the client's car, drop off, and then, or clean it, then we drop off. Yes, they're going to pay extra because it's a lot cheaper than them considering using Uber or whatever sort of transportation that's going to get them and their time, really. So you might even get an extra $50 by offering just this service alone. So you don't even necessarily have, like, this is just thinking creative. You could think outside the box without having to even consider buying a van, buying a trailer, buying all the water tanks, the power washer, the chemicals, all the stuff that you don't necessarily need in order to just start a detailing business. Now, obviously it helps, but to say we need to start at a 30 grand debt van just before we get into it, and you don't even know if you actually like like the industry, the business, the hard work, the being a business owner, like, I just see a lot of times, especially on either Facebook Marketplace or whatever, there's a lot of detailing vans, trailers up for sale. It makes you wonder, did they give up on it because they went into it too deep, too fast, too quick? Like, there's a lot to this business. So, big thing. It does have, when we're talking about the key points about starting in the detailing business, it is a low startup. It is a very high potential, and there's just lower risk because you don't have to go and get a huge industrial building just to start detailing cars and pay $3,000 to $6,000 a month just to support the idea. Okay, next is going to be, it is a skills-based growth. Like, the more you refine your craft, the more you can charge. Like, your skill equals the income that you can provide, right? So if you do want to learn paint correction, ceramic coating applications, and other services, maybe even tinting or PPF installment, like, the options of growing is very fast. And depending on what you want to offer, what you're capable of learning, you can simply add it to your toolbox, right? Your options, your menu to your customers. And next is going to be it's a huge market, right? Every city has thousands of people and cars that are going everywhere. Whether it's people who have dogs, people who have kids, people who just love their cars, sports car owners, like it's a never-ending market. And I don't care if these cars drive themselves in the future. No one's going to clean it as detail and well oriented as somebody specifically being locked into that car and touching every little interior piece and component of the vehicle. Like you just, yeah, I get it. There's robots coming out in the future, but we are ways away and the opportunity is now. And next is like the scalability. Like you're going to start mobile, then you're going to find your client base, then you're going to create a team, then you're going to want to go get a shop, and then you could even expand into whether it's products or maybe you want to educate people yourself. Like it doesn't just start at being a mobile detailer. It can grow into something so fast, so quick. And the cool part is you're going to get to a point where you have a team that's detailing cars, the business is pretty self-operating, and now you are just managing the business. Like to me, that sounds less physically exhausting than you always having to get up, make sure the chemicals are in stock, making sure that you're always that all your equipment is ready to go, and like the setup and the teardown. Like you always are having to make sure, like you're always on, is what I find. So scalability, and as long as you have a clear vision and goals of where you want to be and just maybe some steps of how you want to get there, I think you could get there within less than 3 to 5 years. Now, it is creative and it is very technical. It's not just about cleaning, it's about like restoring people's cars, like what they love, and adding protection to give customers some more satisfaction, right? Some more. You ever see, like, I'm sure maybe some of you have already detailed cars. Like, do you just see the customer's reaction when they pick up, like that feeling of starting fresh or starting new, and they just have this sense of like a breath of fresh air, a new beginning. Like that's what you're doing for customers. You're creating an emotional connection with their vehicle that they once loved when they first picked up the car. Right? I see it all the time. Oh my God, this car looks way better than what it was new or when I picked it up off the lot. Like sometimes you are creating almost this satisfaction just for the customer, and that's what they're paying for, right? Like who cares about the actual detail and how much time? Like they don't know what you did to get it clean. They just know that you worked hard. So they're so appreciative of the hard work you put in, but they're also appreciative of the investment that they made into themselves and that they're taking care of it. Um, and lastly, it's the fact that we get instant gratification and it just meets long-term customer loyalty. Right? You are going to satisfy them. They're going to be wowed. And the fact that they ever feel like they need to get their car cleaned based on how well you took them, based on, don't even worry about the price. People are willing to pay the premium rates if they feel like they genuinely get a great connection with you, if they have a relationship, and if they feel like they're a priority. If you treat a customer like they're literally just another customer, another detail, and like, oh man, I gotta clean another car. No, you get to clean another car because it's another opportunity for you to make more money. Right. So if we're thinking about that, the customers are going to create this loyalty with you. And if you are even in a very tight knit community, like let's say a smaller town, the word is going to spread. Right. You're going to have local community meetups. You're going to detail the car in front of somebody else's house. Like you're just going to get the awareness that I don't think that you necessarily would even imagine. Now, I've curated some questions that I thought maybe some new detailers, like I'm talking about people in the beginning stages, maybe this is like a part-time thing for you, maybe it's a hobbyist, or maybe you're just doing it for free to like build the skills and the knowledge so that one day you can start charging. And let's just think, I thought of some questions that I thought I'd answer for you guys, and that way we understand that this is why if it's something that you're thinking about, the detailing world, let me just help you create that clarity of why this is the right industry for you. First one is, how much do I really need to start? To break down the realistic startup cost, the startup costs versus the wasteful spending. Well, the wasteful spending, as kind of what we were talking about just earlier in this chat, in this podcast, is the things that we don't need. So that's polishers, that's extractors, that's steamers, that's the latest and greatest power washers. Like, that is wasteful spending if you don't have a clientele whatsoever, right? You are buying these things in hopes that people are going to use your service, that people are going to just automatically know that you offer all these services, and that they're going to trust you, that this is your first month and you are going to offer this premium rates. Like, sometimes knowledge and actually getting the hands-on experience is value. And even in the beginning stages, I would just really keep it simple. You don't need to even make it mobile. Like, whatever setup you have, maybe you're still living at home with your parents, maybe you're in an apartment, or maybe we could try to figure out how you could go and use a coin op wash to just start getting the business. And I would almost, just in the beginning stages, so you can get some awareness, and I say free marketing, other than it's really just your time, you really need to start offering your services for free in the beginning stages. Now, don't get me wrong. If somebody's willing to pay, you take their money. Okay. But I'm just talking about the experience. Take some photos, take some cool B-roll shots of you working and detailing cars. Use this as your portfolio so that way you can start sharing and connecting with other people. But one thing I suggest to a lot of detailers is, why not connect with other business owners? Like, let's say you just started your business, your Google business profile, and you really wanted to get some Google reviews right away. Well, you could just go to one of your local businesses in your town or city and say, "Hey, I'm just starting off. I need some help just to get some exposure. Do you mind if I detail two or three of you and your employees' vehicles? And just in return, I'd appreciate a Google review for free." Now, the nice thing is, it doesn't cost you anything other than your time. And two, you may build a really cool relationship with that business owner, because they're going to create this sense of appreciation. One, that you're actually like doing it, and that business owner probably didn't offer what you're offering. So they're going to appreciate that you are thinking outside the box. Like, there's a lot of things that could come from that. And I just think the relationship alone is pretty cool, right? Especially if you use if you go to a local barber, start off there. You already know someone there. And this is a great way to just create a better connection. Okay. So, realistic startup cost is going to be, in my opinion, based if you're in the Canada or the US, is going to be anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 if you wanted to have a nice, clean, presentable setup with a hat, shirt, some business cards, and some simple equipment. Now, there are different resources to consider. You could take money from your parents. You could go get a credit card, a line of credit, go to any sort of loan providing services. Like, there's so many different ways to have resources of getting money, right? How savvy can you be? But to be realistic, that's what I would say you're going to ensure that you need just to get off the ground running. Next question is, what tools, products should I actually buy first? Well, we don't need to have all the crazy chemicals, right? We don't need to buy in mass quantities, because we're not there yet. Yes, maybe your cost of chemicals is going to be a little bit higher at the beginning, and you can lower that cost over time. But there's no sense in buying 20-liter jugs of all these detailing chemicals and stocking yourself up with $1,000 plus worth of chemicals when you haven't even detailed a car that's being paid for yet, right? So consider that. We only need the essentials, which is going to be something like your all-purpose cleaner, tire shine, wheel cleaner, and maybe a wax. Like, that's going to be, and a glass cleaner. Like, that is going to be the essential stuff just to get on the ground running, right? So you can buy all the other stuff later, the sap removals, the bug removal, all this type of other chemicals that, yeah, it'll be easier to have before, because it's going to save you time to use the chemical versus using your elbow grease to make the work happen. But do we need the best of the best? Do we need the highest quality? No, absolutely not. Find what works with you. Test certain things, so that way you're not jumping around, and maybe you want to be loyal to a specific cleaning product brand, right? Like at Hayes Detail Products, we have all the essentials for every detailer that you can imagine. But our prices might be significantly different than what you could get. Now, that also too varies on what services that you're offering. Okay. But if we're at the beginning stages, let's just keep it simple. We want to keep it very minimal and just understand that we don't need to spend for the best quality chemical out there because that's what's good. Even the best vacuum, any shop vacuum is going to be perfect enough. Any of those simple power washers from that you get at Rona or Canadian Tire is going to be good enough. This is just at the beginning stages. When you have repeat business, we can invest in tools that's going to make the job easier. Okay, next question. How do I find my first client? Well, I made a suggestion earlier. Go knock on your neighbor's door. Go and say hello to other business owners. Say, like, be okay just to wash the exterior of a car for free, right? Don't make it extravagant. Don't make it like you need to invest 2 hours to clean the outside of a car. This is not what you're doing. You're simply offering a gesture to other people in return to offer you a Google review. So, don't you think that by in doing so, they're going to appreciate that? Sure, they're not going to call you next week for another car wash, but are they going to call you within maybe a couple of weeks to say, hey, you know what? I appreciate what you did. I'd love to use your service for an interior detail. When's your next available appointment? Like that's just one way, but you could leverage your friends, your social media, flyers, partnerships with even mechanic shops, dealerships, fleet companies. There's a lot of business out there to grab. Again, this is why I love detailing world, so passionate, because it really feels never ending, the opportunities. And you know what? I find that people, detailers, detail business owners, are wasting their time with social media. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that, yeah, you know, it's okay to post here and there. But if you're trying to focus on social media, like that's where you're going to get all your clients, well, I hate to break it to you. Someone halfway across the world that likes your post because it was well curated together isn't going to be a customer of yours, right? You are a service-based business. The people at the, maybe local, whatever you call it, the church or any small other businesses that a lot of people go to, barbershops, restaurants, anything that people are always kind of going to, those people in your community, in my opinion, are far more valuable than some random person halfway across the world. So just think about that. Your community is what matters. That's what's going to spread in especially tight-knit communities with nicer areas, right? Not the sketchy, don't go to areas that is low income, but just areas that people would actually appreciate your services that are going to help save them time, right? You're offering more than just detailing to customers. Next question. How should I price my services? This is something that, okay, first off, don't be the cheapest one on the block, because when you're the cheapest one on the block, you're just competing with the other detailers. And is that what you want to be known for? Like to always be the cheapest person, the person that's always going to undercut other people? Right? You don't want to be the most expensive because people are going to have higher standards and higher expectations when they're using your service. Well, why are you $500 when I'm just getting a simple detail? Like, obviously, that's exaggerating, but I would almost curate some packages, right? Like, don't offer just one detail option, okay? Because you're creating the standard for when that customer uses you again. You want to be able to diversify what services you offer that's going to satisfy multiple people, right? Like not everyone can afford a $300 to $500 detail. And I'm not saying that you want to have only cheap customers. No, you just want to be able to make a great yearly base of customers so that way you always have customers that are using your services, right? We want to create a great financial base, and offering different options just creates the opportunity to upsell clients. You're not going to upsell every client every time. There's no question about it, right? A lot of times customers actually say more no than yes. But the more they trust you, the more they appreciate your feedback and your honesty, they're going to make the investment into you, right? So how should you price your services? Well, just do some competitive research. Like go on Google, mobile detailer near me, and take the top 5 that come up and just do a range. What services do they offer? What's their price breakdown? and be relatively close. Right? Sure, if you want to be a little bit less, but again, do not be the cheapest person. You're just undercutting yourself. And it's going to be hard to explain to the clients the next time they use you why you've gone up so much. Oh, because I realized I was wasting my time and I was basically working less than minimum wage after I deducted how many hours I work, how many cars I clean, how much stuff I have to pay for. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like sometimes charging more and having less actually works out in the more in the end. Okay. And then you have more time actually for yourself, which is focusing on the business, the growth, self-development, etc. Do I need a van to be mobile? Well, let me just bust that myth. No, you don't need a whole fancy transit rig just to get going. I've even seen some pretty cool setups where people are setting up on just a cart that pulls up, right? You can connect to people's water, right? You can offer that as a discount, or maybe that's just included in your pricing. People and your customers would understand you're hooking up to their water. Like there's different ways of setting this all up, but to say that you need a $30,000 rig just to start detailing, I think is a little redundant. Right? If we are in the beginning stages, we're not trying to get business poor, which means you're going to set yourselves up for failure with all the overhead that you've created. How to compete when everyone's undercharging, and see, this is the big factor, right? When you have somebody new like you, especially that's in your competition, they are willing to undercut you. Always. And there's always going to be more and more competition and cheaper services. This is why you need to learn what your customer actually desires. Is it great customer service? Is it just being convenient with their schedule? Is it that they don't have to worry about any situation, like maybe because you're young, you're inexperienced, etc.? Like, how you present yourself, in my opinion, goes a long way in the detailing world, right? But a lot of it just really comes down to confidence, the clarity, and the power of your positioning within your business. If you have a strong voice, if you have a strong branding, if you understand that this is a service, local based business, your customers are going to market your business for you. Okay. We don't need to waste money on ads, Google ads, Facebook ads until we're ready. That stuff is later down the line. But when we're doing this as a part-time hobby and we're trying to find more and more clients, just consider that, right? We don't need to be the cheapest on the block. You can wait an extra day to find the right client. What if I make a mistake on a customer's car? Okay, well, let's just take some ownership. Let's talk about the learning experience from that. Did you have insurance? No? Okay, why didn't you have insurance? Well, you thought nothing would ever happen. Okay, well, that's foolish of you to think so. If you didn't think that you were going to get into a car accident when you bought your car, well, guess what? You don't have always all the control that other people have as well. So having insurance is something that's going to help protect you. Okay, well, maybe I'm not an official business. Okay, well, how serious are you at wanting to do this as a business? Okay, if you made a mistake on a customer's car, I hate to break it to you, but that's going to be the best learning experience you've ever paid for. What did you learn? What did you take away? And how are you not going to do the same thing on the next car? Any mistake, any failure that you go through in life, yeah, it's probably hard in the moment, but when you reflect back on it a year later, 2 years, 5 years, I'm telling you, it's usually a lot of times it's the pivotal point that actually helped elevate your business to the next level. Okay. Next question. How do I manage time between jobs, marketing, admin staff, etc.? Well, if you're a solopreneur, so you're doing this all by yourself, it's very difficult to do everything and then still have the energy and the thought process to go. Now, sometimes it's not always ideal to get a second detailer to lower the amount of stuff that you need to do. But one thing I would suggest is, why not look for a virtual assistant, even part-time, especially nowadays with people working all over the world. People can answer the emails for you. People can help do the bookings for you. And a lot of times even answer the phone calls. So sometimes we can just learn that subletting some of the work out to other people is actually just going to be more beneficial for you and your business. Now, when you're at a smaller scale, maybe you can't afford to pay these people at premium rates. Okay, well, start off by finding someone that does fit your financial needs and just see how valuable it is, right? We want to learn eventually how to buy back your time. That is the key to being an entrepreneur, delegating your work to other people so you can focus on truly what matters, right? Maybe that is building more relationship connections, business opportunities, etc. So if you find something, whether that's somebody handling all your booking, your marketing, etc., and you feel like that's saving you time in order to get more business, that's what we need to do, right? That's why there is a lot of marketing agencies out there, but I hate to say it, a lot of them are not necessarily scams, but they're just a lot of, you need to make all these investments and fees before you even get your first client. In my opinion, I think you're better off to make that investment in yourself, so that way you are the marketing guy. You are the guy who's making the changes within your business, not somebody else. Okay. So just think about that if you're looking for somebody to take care of all the admin work. Okay. Next next question, is there actually real money in this long term? Yes, absolutely. When you get to a point where you realize that, not only did you replace your income that you were making wherever you were before, right? You need to get to that point. So you basically, maybe you're making minimum wage, or maybe you a little bit more because you were a supervisor or manager or whatever. And you realize, you get to a point where you actually are detailing cars that takes you less time per day, but you made the same money that you would have in your last job. Like, doesn't that speak volume for itself? So you figure out how to be able to clean more cars faster, be more efficient, more effective, charge more, upsell more, have clients rave about you. Like, do you see the opportunities that can compound over time? Yeah. Sure. I'm guessing the first 2 to 3 years, it's gonna feel hard physically, mentally. It's gonna be exhausting. But done right and focusing that this is your vision, that you want to be able to step back and watch it grow in the long term, yeah, it's going to be very rewarding for you. Last question, can I make this my full-time income? If you are in the beginning stages, when are you willing to go all in on yourself? Like, when is the time that you get to say, okay, this is my leap of faith. No matter what happens, I'm staying committed. I'm going to give myself 2 to 3 months. Here we go. See you later, my current job. I'm doing this all in. Like, when does that time happen for you? And think about that. Take time to really consider, right? Like, what is minimum wage, right? We take minimum wage. We're going to take, like here in Canada, it's $17.20 times 9 hours a day. Okay, so that's $154. At Hayes Detail Shop, our lowest package is $174. So to take that in consideration, even if I had one of our basic detail options, it replaces a minimum wage at full time daily. Okay, so you have to figure out how to get at least 5 per week. Okay, so that is what the challenge is, to continuously find people throughout the course of your next year. So that way, by the next year, those people are going to want to use you again, and then you're continuously finding more and more people. So to say we can completely make this a full-time income within a short time is very doable, right? And the nice thing is you could even set it up so you do 2 details in maybe, let's say two details one day, two details another day, and then the next 3 days you're off. And that's basically finding more and more clients if they were at $200 a day or $200 a car. Like, do you see how that would replace your income pretty fast if you were making minimum wage? So to make a full-time income, yeah, you can do it pretty quick, but don't be shocked when we hit the slower times like Christmas, January, February, that things are going to slow down a little bit. So being smart with your money and making sure that there's going to be a winter coming every year, that you're ready for it. Okay. So I hope this episode helped you understand why detailing, like, I'm very passionate about this industry because, quite honestly, The world is your oyster. Like, you can go as far as you want. You can learn as much as you want, and you can charge as much as you want. It's a very fun, cool industry to be in. I'm excited for you to see where you are today and where you're gonna be a year or two from now. Hey, if you got any sort of, you know, information or feedback from this that you enjoyed, you got any value whatsoever, just do me a favor. I'm never going to ask you to make any sort of investment unless you don't want to. But to support this channel, we'd love if you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, or follow if you're on Spotify. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And if you have any suggestions of things that you want me to talk about in these podcast series, please don't hesitate to comment them down below. I'd love to get some feedback from you guys. But until then, let's see you in the next episode, and I look forward to talking more business with you guys.